Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Nemy Santos, and today we're going to talk about ethico-moral and legal practice in nursing. This lecture will explore the meaning of the complex phenomenon of ethical, moral, and legal responsibilities in nursing practice. Let us first discuss Republic Act 9173. RA 9173 is an act providing for a more responsive nursing profession, repealing for the purpose Republic Act number 7164, otherwise known as the Philippine Nursing Act of 1991, and for other purposes. On this chapter, it will help us to comprehensively understand the definition of our profession. This law assumes responsibility for the protection and improvement of the nursing profession. It will help us nurses to practice relevant nursing education and humane working conditions. It will also help us to attain better career prospects and a dignified existence. RA 9173 governed the scope of nursing practice in the Philippines. This includes the provision of the care for the sick and the well, utilizing the nursing process. Establishes collaboration and linkage with the other members of the health team. Timely and relevant health education to all. Molding nursing students to become future competent health professionals. And career development, focusing on human resources training and research. For this matter, nursing in the Philippines is guided by legal rules and principles affecting the practice of nursing. The legal law in nursing also applies the regulation of the practice of nursing in our country. For a detailed encounter with RA 9173, you may find its link in our module in Canvas, or simply browse the internet for a thorough reading. You'll find there how wonderful our profession. So what are the functions of the law in nursing? It gives us understanding of our actions in the care of our patients. It helps us differentiate nurses' responsibilities as compared with other health professionals. It also establishes boundaries of our independent nursing actions. And more importantly, assists us in help maintaining the standard of nursing practice, making nurses accountable, and therefore help us to be very careful in dealing with our clients. This means that our clients are assured of our competence. Moral responsibility was interpreted as a relational way of being a nurse, which involved guidance of a professional composed of ideals, values, and knowledge that translates into striving to do good. Accountability, on the other hand, means being answerable for the decisions made in the course of one's professional practice, while liability is our accountability to the patient, the public, their regulatory body, their employer, and any relevant supervisory authority. In other words, it simply describes our important roles and responsibilities as healthcare professionals. This is practicing our profession in relation to ethico-moral and legal standards to be able to deliver competent nursing practice, education, and thorough research and development. Now we go to Code of Ethics for Nurses. Code of Ethics for Nurses is a systematic guide for developing ethical behavior. It serves as a hallmark of all professionals in their willingness to accept a set of professional and ethical principles which they will follow in the conduct of their daily functions. What are the general principles of ethics? And these are the following. Service to other. Nurses are bound to perform their duties for service all the time. Integrity and objectivity. It describes nursing as a very noble profession. Professional competence. It deals with how nurses respond to situations and perform his functions to the highest standard. Solidarity and teamwork. I think that nurses works more efficiently and collaboratively with people. Number 5, social and civic responsibility. Well, aside from our function, it is our ethical principle to serve the community with compassion and authentic care. Global competitiveness. The nursing profession is global in nature. That is why Filipino nurses are recognized anywhere, most specifically in any part of the world, because of our competence and compassion to care. And lastly, equality of all professions. Now we go to ethical principles in nursing. These are the following principles. First is autonomy. It implies that the patient has the right to refuse despite the explanation of the nurse. Example, during surgical procedure. Next is non-maleficence. This is to do no harm. Harm may be physical, financial, or social. Beneficence. Beneficence is to do good for the welfare of our clients. That makes our profession noble. Justice. Justice means equality in terms of patient care and resources. Next is veracity. Veracity is the act of truthfulness. Fidelity is our loyalty to our clients. Now we will discuss Patient's Bill of Rights. The following are the Patient's Bill of Rights. The right to appropriate medical care and humane treatment. The right to informed consent. The right to privacy and confidentiality. The right to information. The right to choose healthcare provider and facility. The right to self-determination. The right to religious belief. The right to medical records. The right to leave. The right to refuse participation in medical research. The right to correspondence and receive visitors. The right to express grievances. And the right to be informed of his rights and obligations as a patient. All of this we have to consider as a nurse to our patients. Now, it is important to know that we respect the patient's Bill of Rights. Responsibility of the nurse to the patient. Nurses shall familiarize themselves with the various routines, methods of idiosyncrasies of physicians, so that smooth relationships can be maintained. It is said that no man is an island. As nurses, we should conform with our organization and maintain working relationship with the health teams. That is our responsibility to our colleagues. And lastly, as professionals, we should be updated on current trends and issues in nursing and continuously developing our competencies through trainings. That is our responsibility to ourselves. Now, what about nurses' moral responsibility? Moral responsibility can be described by the following principles. Golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Or simply, respect other people as you want them to respect you. because what goes around comes around. Next is the twofold effect. The principle of double effect is frequently cited in cases of pregnancy and abortion. In these cases, the intended effect is to save the woman's life, not to terminate the pregnancy, and the effect of not performing the procedure would result in the greater evil of the death of both the mother and the fetus. The next is the principle of totality. This means that the whole is greater than its parts. And lastly, the end does not justify the means. Used to say that the desired result is so good or important that any method, even morally bad one, may be used to achieve it. Well, it's always still best to do good. One of the famous laws ever known in the healthcare practice is the Good Samaritan Law. Some instances has been set as an example in some movies and TV series. This simply means that there is really nothing wrong in helping others in a given life and death situation. The principle is to do good, not harm, without asking anything in return. And the good will always replicate. Now, consent really matters. Informed consent is very important to nursing. This part of the patient's Bill of Rights, and in any procedure, it is best and important to ask our patient for consent as an agreement by the client to accept whatever course of action being provided by the care provider. Consent should be given voluntarily. Consent must be given to a person with the capacity to understand, and the client should be given enough information to be able to make decisions. And lastly, the Data Privacy Act of 2012. The Data Privacy Act of 2012 is known as Republic Act 10173, which is governed by the National Privacy Commission. It is the state policy to protect the fundamental human rights of privacy, of communication, while ensuring free flow of information to promote innovation and growth. In the Data Privacy Act of 2012, under the new law, doctors and other healthcare professionals fall under what is defined as personal information controller or even personal information processor. Obtaining sensitive personal information from our patient is something we do every time we see our patients. This is not only in relation to their illnesses, but other more personal details that may or may not impact our management of their diseases, but have nonetheless come to our knowledge. So protecting patients from harm includes respect for their right to privacy and health information. This is one basic rights of our client that we have to uphold. And what is the catch? The law, as defined by the implementing rules and regulation, also puts responsibility on anyone who may have become aware of such security breach to properly inform authorities or otherwise be subject to penalties as well. So as nurses, we should always be careful in our actions. I think this ends my presentation. I hope you all learn from this presentation. And as a nursing student, you should continue striving to do good in a way that respects yourself and other people. It is important that you also respect values. As teachers, our role is to give you encouragement in your endeavors to do good in a relational way that advances nursing as an ethico-moral and legal practice. Thank you very much for listening.